During the month of December, your gift to the Marine Corps Association Foundation goes 3 times as far, thanks to a special triple match from a group of loyal supporters. That's pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing. It's a great way to make your gift go a little further.
Yeah, and here we are on the on the crux of the holiday season, and obviously, a lot of what we do, we're in receive mode.
Yes.
But here we get a chance to give back, and the thing about giving, usually for me, is I'm happy with a single match.
Yeah.
Because I usually just give, and then it's like, hey, take it, have fun with it,
Right.
and go cure your thing. But when I find out, hey, you're going to match what I just gave, that's awesome. And then, like, if you go to the store or whatever, and you get a double, like a 2-for-1, buy 2, get a third free. Amazing.
Yeah, that makes so much more sense. And also, I mean, what a great way, like I said earlier, what a great way to make your money go a little farther.
3 times as far,
3
actually.
times. Not just twice, 3 times
Yeah,
as
that's
far.
unbelievable. The fact that we have donors that are willing to do this really is a testament to the association and its members.
It is.
And so just to clarify, though, so every dollar you give, not that we haven't already hopefully articulated this, but every dollar you give will be tripled to provide Marines with leadership forums, unit libraries, and other professional development tools that strengthen them for service today and success tomorrow. So it's almost like you get a triple match, and then this is not just going to benefit today, but it benefits tomorrow as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a double inside of the triple.
There's a lot of
It's
math
so
in
much
here.
going on.
There's
Well-
math, there's baseball happening, there's
I
donations.
mean, we're playing 5D chess right now
That's
with your
right.
donation.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Actually,
So,
we're not going to be playing with it.
No.
That just
no playing
again,
with the donation.
just to be clear, Vic Rubel doesn't see nothing that you do is in my wheelhouse, and that's a good thing because it's going to get tripled, and it's going to go towards these really great things like unit libraries, professional development tools, et cetera, et cetera. So
and maybe some classes for us to learn how to record PSAs.
that would actually, that would be a probably a 0.5 match.
0.5 match.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, seriously, though, don't miss this chance to make triple the impact by texting year-end 2025 to 91999 by December 31st and support the future of our Corps. That's text year-end 2025 to 91999.
Hey, Scuttlebutt listeners. Welcome to episode 221. We're excited to have Gunnar Spafford from Toys for Tots back on the show this week. Gunnar first came on the show with John Haehn this spring during Modern Day Marine, and it was great that we had a chance to catch up with them. As we jump into the Hollywood season with both feet, it's really easy for our focus to turn inward and, whether intentionally or unintentionally, ignore the struggles of those to the left and right of us. Toys for Tots is the balm for our holiday season tunnel vision. One of the Toys for Tots' slogans is, "It's more than just a toy." And having personal experience supporting Toys for Tots, I can say that is totally true. Gunnar talks to us about the ways that a toy is so much more than just a toy, the Toys for Tots year-round and disaster relief initiatives, and ways for both individuals and corporations to give. I can't emphasize enough what an amazing charity organization Toys for Tots is, and I'm happy that Gunnar was able to carve out some time during this busy season to come hang out with us to get the word out about Toys for Tots. Also, we at the MCA know how stressful and challenging the holiday season can be. Mental health challenges and suicide continue to take far too many of our active duty service members and veterans. We want you to know that you are not alone. If you need help, please ask for it. And if you think of someone you haven't heard from in a while, please reach out to them. You can't dismiss the power of contacting someone, even in a text, asking how they're doing. So do your comm checks, and if you need help, please reach out. We all want to see you in 2026 and beyond. Semper Fidelis. This is episode 221. Hey, Scuttlebutt listeners. Thank you for joining us and your continued support. I'm Vic. I'm here with Nancy.
Hey, Vic. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Doing pretty good.
Yeah, you ready for Thanksgiving?
Yeah. So as a vegetarian, it's a challenge, and I really.
It's all about the side dishes.
It's not. So here's the well, it is, but it isn't. So here's an interesting thing. So I talk out of both sides of my mouth on this thing because I'm not huge on the ultra processed foods.
Right.
But to get plant-based proteins in a way that simulates a meat.
Okay.
And I know like.
No, I get
Farmer Paul is like.
I know.
Gonna fucking punch me in the face when he sees me, but it's just the way how this goes is. So regardless, usually what I have to do is I have to like leapfrog around the beltway trying to find, individual grocers or whomever who's going to carry. Yesterday was perfect. We talked a little bit about going to the commissary, so I picked up all the sort of side dishes and stuff that I need at the commissary, and then I went to the one place, Mom's, on the way home, and they had all of the plant-based protein stuff. So we're ready to rock and roll for Thanksgiving.
So you're ready. I still have to do my commissary run. I'm
go.
super excited about it.
It was crunked up.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. I mean, I've been picking up some things along the way, but.
What do you guys normally like? What's sort of your? Because we're just a 4-person team. I
have a crowd coming. I've got all my kids are going to be under one roof at the same time for the first time in several years.
Yeah.
I've got my dad coming. He's a widower now, so but I dispatched him with a little shopping list.
He's coming from.
He lives here.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
But he was pretty excited to contribute this year. I sent him to the grocery store and.
You put him to work.
I did. I put him to work. So.
Hey Vic, why don't you just get a whole bunch of turkey burgers and just kind of mush them together and make your own turkey?
I like that.
Well, because it's the turkey thing. That's the thing.
Oh, you can't even do turkey.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. No, it's a real...
Or a veggie burger. How about a veggie burger? You just mix them all together.
Well, that's sort of what it is,
in the shape of a turkey.
It's a ham. It's a ham. It's in the shape. So it looks like a ham. It's even got the lines, and it's wrapped in the netting and all that good stuff. And it's got the glaze. Tastes
well.
I
do have one vegetarian coming to my Thanksgiving dinner. She's just going to deal with side dishes. She's not getting her own protein.
Yeah, that's how it usually goes.
I'm not doing that.
So you have anybody coming from out of town, though, for your...
I do. I have my good friend coming from Fayetteville and her daughter who is joining us from Chicago. And, of course,
wow.
my daughter and her husband are coming from SoCal. I mean...
They're coming from SoCal.
Yeah.
My son just came from Southern California, so...
Oh, well, son, that's different, yeah.
So, yeah.
What a bummer for them.
Wait, did you just say it's a bummer for my daughter to come home and visit her family? To see me.
San Diego.
Did you hear what he just said about me?
Leaving San Diego.
Man, it's a tough crowd.
Yeah, I'm not that close to my family, apparently. We both, my wife and I, so my wife's Puerto Rican, I'm Vietnamese, and so grew up with just massive, everybody just sort of converges.
Yeah.
And it's 20-ish people for every, and it's kids table, adult table, shenanigans abound, drunken, disorderly, it's all the things.
A free-for-all.
And so coming out here, though, and it being a little sparse on the thing, it's a little, it's still, even, 13 years.
Next year, join us. But leave that
Hey, how
ham
many people
thing
you got
at
in your
home.
house?
How many are going to be there this year? Only 11.
That's a decent showing.
That's doable.
It's a decent
not
showing.
Too bad. Not too bad.
I think I had 18 last year.
Any young? Is it intergenerational? Is it all Gen Xers?
Well, we got my dad. He's old.
That's what I'm saying. Gen Xers and older, right?
We got my kids. They're young. So yeah, we'll have a Gen Z, Gen Z, a millennial.
Any single digit.
Yeah, any single.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
But they're even their Gen Zers are kind of on the cusp, right, of being
I guess
millennials.
So. Well, you guys all, listeners, Sam. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he on the cusp?
Who doesn't know Sam?
Yeah, right?
So anyway, enough of this.
He's going to really love this when he listens in. Like, oh, God, Mom, stop.
Yeah. So, but really, in all sincerity, for all of our listeners and for everyone here, Vanessa included, is
Shout out to Vanessa.
Have a very happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays. We are going to be taking a little bit of a break around the Christmas and New Year time, so get your scuttlebutt in while you can, because we are going to take about 2 weeks off, and then we'll come back again for the New Year.
And just to kind of piggyback on what you just said, Vic, this recording is an absolutely perfect recording to really set the tone for Thanksgiving, which is my favorite holiday just because of what it represents, what it means. And we were talking a little before the show about what a difficult year it's been for so many people, so many Americans.
Yeah.
And I personally know that in my family we have so much to be grateful for, and I'm really pleased to kind of kick off the next couple of days with the conversation we're about to have.
100%. Yeah, and before I do introduce our guests, I just got to give a shout out on that same line is for anybody, but in veterans in particular, because it's just mental health challenges are just so rampant through the veteran community, that if you need to go to a VFW, go to an American Legion, find family, you're not alone. People want to be around, and if you're thinking of someone and just like, I haven't heard from that person, send a text, give a call. Everyone knows that the holiday season, even in the times of plenty, are the rough. It's a rough go.
Yeah, it is.
It can be very lonely even when you're amongst a crowd. And so please reach out and please ask for help. Like, no one wants to remember, and I used to give this safety brief of the holidays too when I was a company commander. It's like, no one's family wants to remember that this was the holiday season that you died. And I don't mean to be so morbid, but like, really reach out to people, and if you need help, get help. I say that with just the most utmost sincerity and heartfelt sentiment. Like, please, please, please get help, ask for help, and reach out to someone. And one of the good ways of feeling good through the holiday season is to give. I mean, all of us veterans, we know what sacrifice is, and the value and just the absolute intrinsic worth of giving and sacrificing. And I can't think of a more, other than the Marine Corps Association, but another just a tier below would be Toys for Tots. And so we have back to the show Gunnar Spafford from Toys for Tots. For those who missed it, he joined us at Modern Day Marine with Gunny Bear. It was absolutely a wonderful time, and so I'm so happy that you decided to come back to us. So Gunnar, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm really excited about having a conversation today.
Yeah, awesome. So for those who didn't catch that, shame on you. Go back and listen. We'll still be here when you get back. But
you can watch that video on
and you can watch it on YouTube. Yeah,
on the Marine Corps Association YouTube channel.
Yeah, and you can catch all of our episodes now on YouTube
That's
podcast.
Right.
Yeah. My wife just showed it to me. She's like, "Why didn't you show me this?" I was like,
"Because it was too."
Because I got a face for radio and a voice for print. So,
yeah. Welcome to the show. Then you're fit right in.
Wait a minute.
So for those who didn't catch it, Gunnar, you are a retired Marine. Can you tell us just a little bit about sort of your time in service, time in uniform, and then how you came to be with Toys for Tots?
Yeah, sure. So right out of high school, I was one of those kids that knew that he was going to go into military service. My dad had served in the Navy for 22 years. Most of his career was before I was born. He met my mom at his second to last duty station in Iceland. And that's where I ended up being born.
Amazing.
And
That's
so
cool.
his last duty station was out of Groton, Connecticut. And when he retired in 1980.
Was he a submariner?
He was not.
Oh.
He was working for NCIS at that time.
Okay.
Oh, neat.
And so when he retired, we moved back up to Vermont, and that's where I grew up in New England. So all New England teams. And
I roll.
hey, you know what? 9 in a row. I'm just throwing it out there for the Pats. So yeah, I got to grow up there, small town, a little rambunctious, but graduated and knew I was going to go into the service, and I couldn't wear bell bottoms, so the Navy was out.
The Marines.
Couldn't do it. And so
Solid choice.
yes, absolutely. So then I decided, I went to the Marine recruiter first, and it's like, hey, I want to go into the infantry. If you can make that happen, I'll sign on the line.
It's like, gee, let me think.
And otherwise, I'll go across the hall to the Army. I just happened to walk into the Marine recruiter's office first, and so signed on the dotted line. And July, I think 2nd, right after graduation,
Oh, no way.
I was standing on the yellow footprints in Paris Island, and so. Did that, was an 0311, got stationed in 13 in Hawaii. Really tough duty station out there.
That's bummer.
It was rough. Did 2 UDPs, Unit Deployment Program, in the 90s to Japan. Got to do a lot of the Southwest Asia countries out there. Came back from the second deployment and, came back in January, was due to get out in July. I was in the last 6 months of my contract, and I met this girl, and had no plan. And so I went to my first sergeant and was like, hey, I met this girl. I want to stay out here, but the only way I'm staying here is if I can re-enlist. Well, there were no boat spaces available. I mean, this is January. Everything was full up,
This was the
this
90s?
Is 97, so there was nothing going on.
Right.
And so he worked his magic, and I got re-enlisted to go. I did my top 3, and it came back military police. So I was like, great. And then they cut me orders to Lejeune, and I was like, that doesn't work for me, So I went back to the first sergeant, and he worked his magic again.
Wow.
And got me orders to stay in Hawaii to be with the military police out there. And so over that next 4 years, I ended up becoming a watch commander. I ran the SWAT team called SRT, we ended up getting married. And I re-enlisted again, went to Miramar, picked up Staff Sergeant, and applied for this small program called MESEP.
Yes.
And got accepted, was just absolutely blown away with that opportunity, and I got selected in early, what was that? I guess I got the message around December timeframe of 2000. This is a while ago, before 9/11, obviously.
Right.
And so I was slated to go to school in the fall of 2001, and everybody knows what happened with 9/11. And so I really thought about giving up my orders because I was with 373 at the time out of Miramar, and they were one of the first ones to go into country, in hindsight, But I had a really good lieutenant, and he's like, Gunnar, there's a high probability that this will be here for a while, but you never know. But what's better for your family? For you to just get a deployment or for you to get an education, to become an officer and really get a chance to lead Marines? And I was like, he had me, right?
Yeah.
And so I made that decision.
Great advice.
And so, side story, one of the guys that I was a sergeant with in Hawaii, he was coming off the drill field. And he's like, hey, Gunnar, the monitor wants me to give me your position. Should I take it? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. You get the best of both worlds. You do 373, where you train for combat, but then you also do base side stuff. So it's an awesome spot. He took the job, and unfortunately, his vehicle got hit with an IED, and he came back. And he survived, and ended up being a first sergeant when he retired. But he got pretty good shrapnel in the leg, and I remember seeing him in the hospital while I was going to school, and he was out there, fighting for the country, and he was half the man that he was. I was just simply, shocked about that, and it actually gave me more drive to get out there and lead Marines, because he was a great Marine leader, and he's an even better friend. We just celebrated his 50th birthday last year,
that's good.
in South Carolina. So
Nice.
just the people that you get to meet along the way is just simply amazing. So a little side story there. I got my commission and went to TBS, and you're ready to rock and roll, get out to that deployable unit, hopefully get, a good MOS. And, I had a lot of high demand, low density MOSs as my choices coming out of TBS. And I got military police.
Oh,
So I was like, I kind of know this job a little bit. I was like, all right, hey, I know this job. Let's go to a deployable unit and let's get out there and hit the sand. And they sent me to MCRD San Diego.
Oh, no
as the
way.
deputy provost marshal. I was like, are you kidding me? But it was a great time to really grow some roots in the military police community. I got to work with some amazing leaders, both on the officer side and on the enlisted side. Just amazing people through and through. I got to understand the boot camp side from the other side of the Yellow Footprints, and was a part of a lot of ceremonies, pomp and circumstance while I was there. And then I got tagged to fill on IA. I went with 224 out of Chicago to Iraq, and was the XO of the H&S company. I ran the detention facility, all the prisoner stuff. I coordinated all the military or the police units for our battalion. So coordinated all that stuff, and just was simply again. The Marines that I got to work with from that reserve unit gave me a better understanding of the Marine Reserves. And they kind of talked about this thing about Toys for Tots that they had to do.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my first kind of scratch with that piece of it. And I was like, oh, interesting. Because, just real quick to go back, one of the things that I did was I went to Africa and to do a security mission as a young corporal. And our provost marshal, I was a sergeant at the time, and our provost marshal came up and was like, "Hey, I want to do something in Africa that for the community." So I came up with it like, well, what if we were to get some toys, throw them in sea bags, and go to the orphanage? No idea about Toys for Tots at that time, And he was like, "Great, Gunnar, you coordinate." And I was like, crap, what am I thinking? I just voluntold myself. And so I, in Hawaii, went out and we collected up a whole bunch of toys that didn't require any type of batteries or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And we took all these toys and we distributed them out at an orphanage in Africa.
That's awesome.
While we're out there on our mission. So that was kind of cool. But, getting back at it, came back from that deployment, did a pit team to Afghanistan, got to work with an old boss, General Tulin, who I was an aide for at one time. He was running RC Southwest at the time, so I was one of the police transition teams in Afghanistan, which was just simply amazing to be a part of that. And then when I came back from that, I got selected. I did college. I got my master's degree. Really excited about that. And then the Marine Corps goes, "Hey, we're sending you to college to get a master's degree." And I was like, wait a minute. I just did that. So I literally finished my San Diego State master's and an MBA and went straight to Naval Postgraduate School and did a master's in manpower management.
Oh, nice.
So like back-to-back college, 4 years. Again, you want to talk about some of the best and brightest across all the services. The Naval Postgraduate School was just filled with great Americans.
Sure.
And again, some lifelong friends that I met from being there at the school.
And that's Monterey, right?
And that's in Monterey,
and that
California.
doesn't suck.
We
went from San Diego to Monterey, so it is a bit of a step down.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got best of both worlds. My family stayed in San Diego, and I did the 8-hour drive up on Sunday, and then drove back on Thursday or Friday, depending on when my class schedule was, because we wanted to keep
So
our
the 5
kids.
freeway was a friend of yours. Yeah.
15.
Oh, yo, 15.
15,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha.
5 and I guess it's 5 and 15, depending on which way I had to go.
Yeah, because once you get
around
past LA, it's 5, right?
Yeah, it's 5.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, here we go.
Yeah,
Don't get me started.
you think an interstate having 2 lanes is not a good idea through the center of one of the largest cities in America. You think they'd fix that. I lived through San Diego's expansion of the 15. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Talk about traffic. 2 hours. Took it down to 30 minutes once they fixed it.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like,
Then 805 expansion. and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
absolutely.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's always
man,
about
I'm
the
salivating.
highways with
I'm
you Southern California people.
It is. I mean, hey, the 95 folks that run the 95 need to go to California.
They do.
Hey, this is how you fix it, okay?
Yeah, this is how you get it done.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I agree.
But, after I finished school, I got stationed at the Marsh Center here in Quantico, and that's where I ended up finishing out my career, because they said they'd like to send me to Lejeune, and my son was getting ready to go into a sophomore year in high school, and I was like, all right, 25 years is good. I think I've done my time and served our country. So I decided to retire. And then I went into the financial planning business for a little while, had my own practice, did that for 2 years, became a certified financial planner. And then COVID struck. I ended up breaking my shoulder and having to have surgery. My surgery was March 18th of 2020, which is the same week that everything shut down.
I remember it well.
So do I, and that's the only reason I remember that date. And so I basically watched everything that I had planned for that year for my practice kind of go under, and I was like, all right, I'm done. And then I didn't work for a little bit. I did a short stint at DLA as a certified Lean Six Sigma black belt, and then I had an offer to go to the Pentagon to work for the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Manpower Reserve Affairs, and that was just an amazing opportunity. I got selected, GS-14, working, presidential and congressional inquiries, and was a deputy chief of staff, and just was an amazing tour. And then I got approached by this guy. I do an event in Vienna called Viva Vienna, and I'm going to put a small plug in for that. Vic is very familiar. And I had a guest speaker, General Tulin, and actually the commandant was sending him out of country, and he's like, Gunnar, I'm not going to be able to be your guest speaker for Memorial Day tribute, but I've got a replacement for me. And it was retiring General, Lieutenant General Jim Laster, who was DIMCUS, had just retired and he was DIMCUS at the time, but he was taking over as president and CEO of Toys for Tots. Oh. So he was my guest speaker. We kind of hit it off, and during that time, he said, hey, I really want to get you on my board. And I was like, oh, I'm really excited, right? And a year went by. I'm like, crickets. And then out of the blue, he calls me, hey, Gunnar, you want to do dinner? I was like, sure. Hey, are you still kind of interested? I'm like, absolutely. And then like 6 months later, it took a long time of what I'm getting at. He's like, hey, why don't you come over to the foundation and I'll show you the building and we'll have lunch. And I'm like, cool. And I walk into his office, and sitting there to my left was Ted Sylvester, call sign Miggs, who is the vice president of marketing and development. Across from me was Kelly Hardison, who is the director of HR and one of the deputy vice presidents, and then General Laster. And I'm like, I'm looking at all sides, and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't lunch, this is a job interview. And we ended up sitting there for 2 hours having a great conversation, at least from my perspective. And 2 weeks later, General Laster sent over, they created a job for me. They were going to create an office for me, and made me an offer that was, too good to turn down. And I took that to my command at the Assistant Secretary's office and one of the SESs there. I still, it was kind of fond. He's like, Gunnar, you are awesome. We would love to keep you, but every single one of us that are here in leadership want you to take this, because this is going to be great for you as far as leadership goes, opportunities, do the things that you love to do, you have to take this. You have to take this. So, I read the tea leaves, and my wife was 100% supportive, and ended up going there. And now this is my 4th Christmas, and loving every minute.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome.
And what a great, I mean, it's really important to have a job, right? Important to get paid, have a job. But even more important when that job is something that makes you feel fulfilled and that you have a purpose and that you're part of something bigger that really matters. And I can't think of anything, more purposeful than what you're doing.
Right, to serving underprivileged children.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
My kids always look at me and they're like, Dad, you've got the weirdest job in the world. Just like there'll be times like, I got to meet the First Lady 2 years ago. Dr. Jill Biden. I've got to meet President Clinton. I've been on The View. I've been at the Hollywood Christmas Parade. I've been to NASCAR events. Last week we were on Fox News, celebrating Toys for Tots and helping them do their Christmas tree lighting. Gone to Phoenix, Dallas, and that's all in this year. Just absolutely, great opportunities, because one of the things that we need help with is those white boxes that are around the country right now. You can actually download the Toys for Tots app, and you can see where all those donation spots are.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So, like, you can have it on your phone. It's called Toys for Tots. You click on it. It'll open to where you're at, and you can zoom out and see all the boxes that are in your area. And, last year we collected and distributed 30 million toys to 13 million children.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
And as good as our local commands are, or local coordinators are, they were only able to collect 15 million toys, and to me that's kind of mind-blowing, because this is supposed to be a community action program. It's supposed to be from the community back to the community.
Sure.
And there's just so much demand out there that the foundation ended up supporting with another 15 million toys.
Wow.
So that's through gift in kind that we get from some of our amazing toy partners, the Hasbros, the Legos, the New England Doll, all those amazing, organizations. When their toys run out of licenses or they have excess, toys, instead of destroying them, they can give them to us and we can repurpose them, and they love us for it,
Sure.
And they've been great partners, and we need more partners like that can come in, step in, and help us purchase more toys. Because as good as that is, the donations really only covered about, I'd say about 6 million of the 15 million.
Yeah.
The foundation had to purchase the rest.
Wow.
So that's where that corporate cash is big.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this last time you were on, but when I was Reserve I&I, that was obviously, it's a huge deal. And yeah, please go back and listen, because I don't want to rehash all of the history of how the reserves came to play as part of this, but it's it seemed tedious at the time. You're looking at your TEEP, which is our training plan, and you look at this massive block in the fall where like Toys for Tots, we're doing Toys for Tots, are we? But once you get involved in it and you see the outpouring from the community and the support, and like you mentioned, toys, I don't know if they still are, and I don't mean to put anybody on blast. I'm just ignorant. But one of the huge ones for us at the time was Toys R Us. Not only did they set up a bunch of distribution centers, but kind of like you said, that if there's excess on the shelf, it was coming to Toys for Tots, because one, it helps them out. They're not have overflow in their warehouses, and they're not paying, that's not taking up space that could be used for something they could sell. But at the same time, they could have easily just chucked it, right? Like that. Yeah. That's an option for them, is just to dispose of it and write it off. But no, they would hand it out. So we would just pull up with 7 tons worth of stuff, and we were getting, obviously, from, like you said, from the white boxes, but it was a lot of that corporate stuff. And the major distributors that were willing to participate with us, rather than just writing it off as excess and then chucking it in the shit can or whatever. So
yeah, well, I tell you, before they had their issues and closed down all their stores, they were one of the first to do the Roundup campaign. And they would run the Roundup campaign at their registers, and they would raise pennies, from each transaction, right? Which in all their stores totaled up to almost $5 million. And we would take that money and go right back into the stores and buy the merchandise from them. So it was like a triple win for them because the money came from the customers. We gave them a tax letter for the donation. And then we went right back into their store the next year and purchased for them. So those are kind of a unique opportunity. So if there's businesses out there selling toys, who better to partner with than Toys for
Somebody
Tots?
that's going to buy the stuff
that's
from
going to
you.
come back the next year and use that money that was collected from your customers to buy your product to get it back out to the community in your community. Right. And to kind of touch on your point about, when you were in the I&I, one of the biggest things that I don't think Marines truly understand is the impact that Toys for Tots has for the Marine Corps. So we're an official activity in the United States Marine Corps. Right? We are a mission of the Marine Corps Reserve. Mm-hmm. A lot of Marines don't know that.
You can read that in Leatherneck Magazine.
Yes, you can. And, the big thing that comes from that is that we, sanctioned by the Department of War now, we can go out there and do things and partner with Marines to get the community engagement that gets the Marine Corps brand out there. We talk about the story all the time about how in 1947 a Marine major, Major Bill Hendricks went out to the community in LA and distributed, 5,000 to 7,000 toys on Christmas morning in their dress blues. Made it all the way back to the commandant at the time, Clifton B. Cates, and he saw it for what it was. It was a community action program. And he was in a battle. In 1948, the Marine Corps was on the chopping block. 3 years after Iwo Jima, we're on the chopping block because of budgetary constraints, right? And we had to fight for our own survival, and it was the people that kept the Marine Corps around. So by you getting in your dress blue uniforms and you going out there and supporting Toys for Tots and getting the brand out there is not only good for Toys for Tots, but it's exceptionally good for the Marine Corps as a whole because they see us as those that can go out there, go to combat zones, win battles, and then come right back to our own communities and take care of the people that need it the most.
100%. And there are so many layers to this. One thing too for reservists, for those who aren't aware, for the way sort of the reserves are structured, it's the standard, 1 weekend out of the month, 2 weeks out of the summer is sort of how you get your drill points for a satisfactory drill year. But you can come on active duty special work orders for particular things.
Really?
And so for college kids who are in the reserves, if they don't have classes or they want to take whatever their thing is, they can come on ADOS orders, special work orders, come active duty, and do the Toys for Tots program. And that's actually what, as the I&I staff, which is very small compared to the overall unit, we're absolutely reliant on those ADOS Marines to come on and help us, but it's even more than that. So not only can those guys come on for active duty orders for these short periods of time, but then once they're handing out and they're doing the distribution, that the sense of the Marines giving to the community, it's reflected back on those Marines. There wasn't a Marine that I can think of, and I'm not saying this hyperbolically, that felt like that was a waste of time, or that didn't come back saying, like, I'm really glad that I did this. Like, everybody's got smiles, even the most cynical MFers out there, to have smiles on their faces, because it's really hard. And we talked about this too, and I want to definitely beat this drum, is that it's more than just a toy.
You're giving hope.
100%. It's just so many things that, and granted, a lot of times the distributions happen during the day and the kids are in school. So you're not like, it's not this sort of like overly sensationalized thing you're handing toys like literally to. But when you hand it to their parents who are there for the pickup, and you see the look of just relief.
Yes.
Like, just, oh my God, this is like one less thing on my plate that I have to deal with. And it's not like, oh, here's like a wooden ducky thing that you pull on these are wonderful, wonderful toys too. And I don't mean to get into the materialism of it, but like, it's not just you're giving something. It's a wonderful Christmas that this family, who potentially may not have had a Christmas, and the pressures and the stress and the sadness and grief that would come with that is completely off the table now because of the donation from what you guys do as an organization, but what the community comes out. And like you said, the corporate donors who are willing, who are everyone's sacrificing so that people who wouldn't have can have. It's amazing.
You know, you're absolutely right. And there's so many lessons to be learned that people can take advantage of. You see that box when you walk into a store. You know, originally you were walking in to buy one thing, but you're like, now I'm buying two things because when I leave, I'm dropping something into that box. And you can actually make it a family experience. I've had so many stories of families going, with my kids when they were growing up, we would see the box and I'd say, hey, that's to help kids that might not have a Christmas if we don't put something in there. So they get to take their kids, you know, over the course of time and teach them about giving and you know, being bigger than yourself, right? More than just about you. And so it's such an important life lesson, and you're able to do it there. And then for the families, you know, I do a distribution event every year for the last 2 years. I'm doing it again this year in December. December 20th, I'm going to the PG County, Prince George's County in Maryland. And the coordinator there does a distribution for 7,000 families.
Wow.
From 8 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. And the line starts the day before.
Amazing.
Right. And they used an old police headquarters, and it has a basketball gym in there. And there's stuffed animals all the way up to the ceiling. I mean, it's just a sight to be seen. And, you know, when I go outside and I look at the line that's out the front door, down the sidewalk, into a field, zigzagging the field, up into the parking lot, around the corner and down the sidewalk, not a lot of kids in that line. A lot of kids don't know that they're recipients of Toys for Tots until much later in life when, you know, someone will be like, hey, there's a Toys for Tots box. Do you want to buy something? And then a mom will tell their 20-year-old, 30-year-olds, like, you know, if it wasn't for Toys for Tots, we wouldn't have had Christmas when your dad lost his job when you were 12 and 13. You know, and kids are just like, what? They have no idea.
Right.
No idea. It's one of the best heartfelt secrets that a lot of people don't know that they were recipients. You know, over the course of the last 78 years, we've distributed 708 million toys to 314 million children. That's almost enough for every person in the United States to get a toy.
Wow. Well, in my family, we don't celebrate Christmas. We are a Hanukkah family. But that never stopped us from contributing to Toys for Tots. And one of the things that we would, to involve my kids was to ask them, okay, what do you think we should get? What do you think we should donate? You know, so they were involved. They had some kind of vested interest in making sure that they were picking out a gift that a child would like. So that brings up a question for you. What tips do you have for people about what is a good thing to donate, and what are some things maybe to stay away from in terms of donations?
That is a great question, and it brings up so many different things. So everybody knows that Toys for Tots is apolitical. You know, we've been to the White House for every First Lady event since Nancy Reagan. Okay?
Oh, nice.
You know, so politics to us, you know, it doesn't matter, right? We support both sides, the right and the left. There is no political affiliation. We want to make sure that everybody is taken care of that needs it, right? The second part that you brought up about that is religious. Everybody thinks that, well, this is a Christmas time charity. It is not. It is a holiday charity. It doesn't matter what you celebrate. If there is some type of giving, we are there to support you.
Nice.
So there's no race, religion, ethnicity, political affiliation. None of that applies with Toys for Tots. If you need a toy, and what we target is 0 to 18, right? And because it's Toys for Tots, ages 3 to 10, we do pretty good with, right? A lot of people will be like, Toys for Tots, I'm getting a toddler type gift, right? Where we kind of struggle is the 0 to 3 and anything over 10, right? So that's our biggest struggle. So if you're having that conversation for the family, think about supporting the teenagers or think about supporting the babies out there. That is where the true where we need help, where we're constantly filling the gap as the foundation.
That's so interesting. And I think, and it's by no fault, but I think it's just sort of where we are when you think of toys, right?
Right.
And I think in a lot of ways, underserved and underprivileged teenagers tend to really, because you're kind of like, well, they just don't, they're not on the front of the consciousness when you're thinking.
They're not,
about,
you know, and
it's kind of a shame, but
teenagers are hard enough to shop for.
They are.
I mean, I think, and part of it is just that, like, what do you get for a teenager you don't know? So I think that could be a challenge.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting it's malevolent. It
No,
happens
certainly not.
Yeah.
No.
It's just not
Right.
on our. And so it's so great to get those reminders that anybody under the 18 is a child, right?
Yes, that's absolutely true. And and again, I want to stress that religion is not a factor. It is not a factor. There's 72 million children in the United States. And if you read some of the studies out there, they estimate about half on some type of government assistance. So that number is a little high because a lot of children are receiving multiple levels of government assistance, whether it might be, WIC, it might be free school lunch, all that other stuff. It kind of adds up. So we did some analysis, and we calculate that it's about 24 million kids are on some type of government assistance. Because we used to tout that there's 13 million kids at or below poverty. And we were trying to get to that number. And last year when we hit 13, we're like, wait a minute, did we just solve the problems for all the kids? And we realized we didn't. We were missing a group, and it ended up being about 11 million children that we just, we were helping them, but we weren't hitting those totals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, like I said, I think it's in a lot of ways. I think it gets to be a little complicated at times.
It does,
which is why I did want to ask before we conclude, or maybe we conclude with the what are optimal things to buy. Because there are some rules, right? Like guns, like you don't want, toy guns and stuff like that.
I apologize. I forgot about that part of it. So no realistic looking guns. Okay, so the Nerf guns are okay because they're just so, you can tell, right?
Right.
Nothing that has anything to do with food. So like your easy bake ovens.
Yeah.
No go for those because there's burn factors. There's trying to cook and all that other stuff.
I had an easy bake oven. Kids, you're not missing anything. Highly overrated. And my brothers ate everything I made. I never got to enjoy it.
There you go.
Still bitter, clearly.
You don't remember that at all.
Like we're talking about almost 45 years later. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The things that really we're getting excited about is STEM. And a lot of people, think toys, but we also do books and games, right? And I'll talk about a couple of the programs here in a minute, but, STEM toys that get kids thinking, right? We're in the business of creating hope, joy, and sharing that there is love for people out there that for no fault of their own are experiencing some tough economic times, and so we don't want them to be recipients forever. So STEM toys, STEM books, spark the imagination.
Sure.
And hopefully that is enough of a spark to get them going to school, thinking about going to high school, pursuing on to college, having a dream, it starts with that imagination, and if we can help spark that with that STEM toy, STEM book, games that create them to think.
Critical thinking, yeah.
It's key, right? Because a lot of kids, by the time they hit 4th grade, if they can't read, they make a unconscious choice to a life of crime, to say it bluntly, right?
Well, it's like,
so how do you make that go away?
It's the hopelessness,
yes.
right?
Yes,
that's what that
100%. So our current president and CEO, Lieutenant General Jim Laster, when he came into the foundation in 2020, not only did he bring me on, but he expanded the program. We have the Native American program that was started in 1980. We're on about 130 of the 500 reservations across the country, and still trying to expand to reach every single one of them.
I did not know about that. That's really interesting.
That's amazing.
In
It's so
2008, we brought on the literacy program, and we've handed out about 56 million books.
Wow.
And then during Jim Laster's tenure, we've added the foster care initiative, helping foster care and at-risk youth, really doing a concentration on them. We have a youth ambassador program where it's kids helping kids. We select about 30 to 50 kids that help coordinators across the country, and they run, collection sites and help do the sorting and then help with the distributions. So that has just been absolutely amazing. And then we do a summer camp where they learn some leadership, again, breaking that cycle of poverty, right?
Yeah,
How can you help yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, so to speak, right? And then we have our disaster relief and recovery program that, we've sent toys to the Maui fires, to LA, and a lot of people, were taken back by hey, Palisades, that's a pretty affluent area. And we all were like, well, they might have been affluent when they had a home.
Yeah, right.
But
right now they don't have a home.
And not to make it about me, but when I was 3, I guess, our family home burned down. And one of the things that stuck with me so much, and my parents lost everything. And my mom would always tell me the story about how people just opened up their homes, their hearts, and helped my parents over that hump. And one of the things, again, that really stuck with me was a relative contacted my mom and said, what toys do the kids need? Because, I was 3 and my favorite doll was suddenly gone, so I'm trying to process the fact that my house burned down in front of me, and I was given this doll and formed such an attachment with it. It was a replacement for the one that had burned up, and having that was really key. And again, it's a core memory for me. I still remember the entire thing, and I also remember how attached I was to that doll. So it doesn't matter what like you just said, it doesn't matter what you had before the fire started. When the fire's over, you have nothing.
Yeah, 100%. And, we do our best not to get in the way of the first responders. We don't want to be there right at the, when the fire is burning, but we want to be there shortly after, so we can help bring families back to some type of normalcy. You think about it, we partner with some great other charities, like Tackle Hunger, so they're taking care of the food stuff, and we're taking care of the toy stuff, and together with other charities that are out there, that kind of come in and work, and we're trying to figure out how we can do it better as nonprofits. Let FEMA do its thing with what they do, but let's have these other charities come together and figure out how can we do this and do it well as a group to help bring some normalcy back to families. You think about it, you're like, what's the big deal with a toy, book, or game? But if you're in some place that all you have is a cot and whatever you're able to grab out of the house before it was gone, you give a family a game, you give them a book, you give them a toy, they're all together fighting through it and pushing through it together and starting the recovery process. And we're a big part of that, and we think that we can, we love that. We sent a truckload of toys to the floods in North Carolina, the tornadoes in Kentucky. We were just down in Texas, and our coordinators, we get them for about 3 months out of the year, October through December. 49,000 volunteers come together and make Toys for Tots happen. Our holiday campaign is still our bread and butter. Awesome. But every once in a while, like when the tornado or the hurricane went through Florida, it went through a pretty rural area. But the coordinator down there was like, hey, if you get me toys, I will do some distribution events. And you don't even think of some of the stuff that happens. Like they brought in a slip and slide and put in soapy water. It's the first time kids had a bath, and they were having fun on the slip and slide, and they were getting a bath after a week of having no running water. You don't think about that. So that's one of the things that I've taken to heart, here at the foundation is we have to think outside of the box. How can we raise money to take care of our and bring in those dollars to be able to take care of all these little missions that we've got across the country. 873 campaigns running full speed right now. How can we bring in more dollars to be able to get them because there's more families asking for help, right? So, we don't want to say no. So you got to think outside the box. One of the things that I brought to the foundation this year was the Toddler of the Year campaign, which was an amazing event, and it raised millions of dollars for us. Oh, and it helped us out tremendously, right? But it's still not done. We're still not even close to where we need to be because with the government shutdown, with the tariffs, with everything else that's going on, people have been the boxes aren't as full as they were this time last year,
Well, and so if you can't find, even though you download the app and you look and you see, where are the white boxes, let's say there's not one that's close to you or maybe you can't get out. Is there a way people can donate cash?
Oh, absolutely. So on our website, on the app, there's a big red donation button. You can make a donation there. We support all, it's amazing how pennies add up. Right?
Sure.
So when you go to the grocery store and you make a purchase and you see that Roundup campaign, it's not a lot of money, right? But if you recognize the charity, I highly encourage you to go, let me put in this 19 cents. That 19 cents added with your 57 cents added to your 89 cents ends up being tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars to that charity. It's a big deal. Now, I'm a big supporter of, I want to see a named charity on there. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see support, something general.
Yeah.
Right? I want to see
awareness.
Yeah.
I'm not supporting awareness.
Yeah. Hey, help support the, this local, what local, right? I want to see where that money is going because when you see Toys for Tots, that 98 cents of every dollar is going to put a toy in a kid's hand. Everything for that toy to get into that kid's hand, it's called program cost. That 98 cents of that. Only 2% goes towards non-program, which is fundraising and advertising, and it's basically me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's money well spent.
Yeah.
Other charities would absolutely die to have that kind of
sure. And I was going to get into that there are some of the more well known that when you look in, if you dive into the books, there's not a lot of your dollar is going to the thing that you think it's going to. And that's not necessarily a fault of the organizations.
Absolutely.
But like you said, there are costs associated. But at the same time, and to sort of put some folks on notice, is like there is a way to do 98 cents per dollar to the thing that you want. There is a way if you
it takes
look
time.
around.
And, we at the foundation right now stand on the shoulders of greatness. The people that came before us had visions that just uncomparable. And, they started with a couple $1,000s and created an endowment. And now our endowment is able to pay for all of our salaries. From the interest and dividends. So that allows us
amazing.
To not put that towards, the donated dollar, right? So how big is that? It takes time. And charities, it's on you to do your research, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, take a look at this charity. Let's take just, one example is the program to support ratio. How much does it cost for them to run the charity? 85 to 15 is considered a pretty good charity, right? If you start getting into the 60-40, 50-50, then you might want to question that one.
Yeah.
Right? But you want to make sure that your dollar is going to be spent and spent well. It's going to be at Toys for Tots.
One thing I wanted to get back to, and I don't mean to take, I could talk to you all day about this stuff. I hopefully you guys can tell I'm like, this is definitely hits me right in the old heart thing that I
didn't know you had one.
It's like in the chest somewhere.
It just got 2 sizes bigger.
Yeah. Nice. Current reference. So we've talked a lot about the donation side. But you mentioned there are a lot of people that aren't aware. How do people sign up, or how is it that people become recipients of this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, we're talking, we're in, currently at the recording, November 25th, my son's birthday. Shout out to him on his
happy birthday.
golden birthday. He turned 25 today, so
that's awesome.
on the 25th. Wow. So he's the last child to have.
You have him like when you were 8 years old or something?
Yeah, I was 23, but do the math on that. He. I forgot where we're going with this.
How do you become a recipient?
Yeah. So for as far as becoming a recipient, you would go onto the Toys for Tots website, and you can click toysfortots.org, and up in the very top it says find your local campaign. You click on that, put in your state, put in your county, and it'll take you to your local campaign. And in there, you can click on get involved, or for getting involved, volunteer and become a drop site. But you can also request toys in the click across the top. And now we have a pop-up. So as soon as you put in toysfortots.org, you can actually click on request a toy and see what the status of the toy is. Now, unfortunately, at this time, most campaigns have stopped receiving, but there's still a lot out there. So please go out and check. Look at your local campaign to see if they're still accepting application. Another way to do it is a lot of campaigns, the one here in Quantico, the one in New York, the one in Atlanta, just to name a couple of them, they work a lot with their nonprofit partners. So you think about churches, schools. Okay. If you're a part of a nonprofit, a lot of them already apply to those campaigns, and then they take care of their people that need the help.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it really depends. Some campaigns only cater towards other nonprofits, and then there's some campaigns that do just the families, applying, and then there's some that do both.
Okay. Well, so Toys for Tots, and that's not a 4, that's
F-O-R.
F-O-R.
Yep, spell out 4.
So spell it all out, no spaces, no hyphens, toysfortots.org. We'll put the link in our show description for sure.
And no matter when you're listening to this, people can donate cash, correct, all year long.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for bringing that up. So one of our new taglines created last year is we are a force for good, a year-round force for good. And so we do literacy in March. We do foster care awareness in May. To name a few, we do Christmas in July. We do back to school in July and August. So absolutely, we are constantly buying toys, books, and games year-round.
I love it.
And so every penny throughout the year will make an impact.
Yeah, and this is just I'm aghast here. It's like I just love this idea that it's more than just a toy, and I just love the fact that even without necessarily the material possession, which is huge, like we talked about, it's this idea that you are seen and we're with you. Like we talk a lot about being proximate to the pain. And there are a lot of charities, and God bless them all. But talking about that proximity to the pain, and it's not just a holiday thing. It's almost like you guys are trying to establish like a QRF for the underprivileged, man, and it's so great.
That is a great reference. I
Vic,
love
you are
that.
such a Marine. I love it. That's great.
That is absolutely true. And, every single one of your listeners can get involved by making a donation. That's a given. Where I'm always looking for help is bringing on more corporate partners. I know that there's Marines out there that did their 4 years, got out, and are now in some of these major corporations across the country. And having them come on board, they get, we treat our corporate partners very, very well. We take very good care of them. We make it very easy for them. And so you can find my email address across our website in the corporate partnership of the website. And, we need more of those corporate dollars coming in because that's truly where we're able to expand. We have about 167 corporate partners that are $25,000 donors and above. And when you think about, there's the Fortune 500, there's the Fortune 1000, there's the Russell 2000, there's a lot of businesses out there that we would love to partner with, and I think would love to partner with us. And a lot of time, it's just an introduction to the right people.
Right.
Because when I go to a business, I come in at the ground level, and I have to get through so many gatekeepers to get to the person that can make the decision. I know that there's listeners out there that know or are that person.
Yeah.
I would love for them to reach out and become a partner. And it's an overused term, a partner in hope, but that's truly what you are, because Toys for Tots is delivering hope, and you're one of our partners, so you're a partner in hope.
Yeah.
And I know it's a tagline somewhere else, but it is so true. And to keep it simple, short and simple, we need you. We need those people to come in. We need you to drop off toys in the box. We need you to make the donations, and we need those introductions because we still got 11 million children to reach out there. We're not done.
Yeah. And I mean, it's got to be, not knowing as much, but I mean, it's got to be even if the hope thing doesn't pull at you, it's mutually beneficial. So pragmatically, because people are going to see that your corporation gives a dump and is part of this program, right? So I think that matters. When people want to spend their money, even if it's just for the stuff, they want to know that the person that they're they're buying from is somebody that cares about what's going on in the community.
That is something that consumers look at now more than ever before. You're right.
So
and one of the big things that most people don't realize is, we ended up purchasing over $30 million worth of toys last year. So we become a very powerful purchaser of toys. So, you think about when you walk into Target and you buy one toy for $20, I can take that same $20 and buy 4 toys.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and we have a program support ratio of 98-2. So you just know that more of that money is getting more toys to help more children. And that's truly the magic of it all.
Yeah. It is magical. And,
I love it.
Yeah, and then listen to our other conversation about how truly magical with your links to Walt Disney and stuff. So,
that's a good teaser to leave them.
Yeah,
like what's going on with that?
Yeah. Go on over to YouTube and you can see that interview.
Check it out. So, Gunnar, man, thank you so much for spending the morning with us.
Absolutely.
Talk about this wonderful that is so important right now, and I know every era has its thing. Like this is the, we're in such tough times, but I mean it seems to be a, same song, different verse, regardless of your generation. But yet, you guys have been in the trenches on this whole thing since.
I hope one day I don't have a job.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I hope we get to the point where no one needs government assistance. No one is living below the poverty line. I would love nothing more than to be out of a job, because that would be a great day for the entire country.
Seriously, man, that's such a great sentiment to end on. So thank you so much for being here. ToysForTots.org. Go to it, support it, and if you need assistance, sign up for it. And even if it's not this season, you can get on board for next year. Just
year round.
Yeah, call the QRF of Hope, man, to get you guys going. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, listeners.
Hey, what's going on, William?
Not much, Vic. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing well. how things been going? You been doing any wargaming lately?
I wargame every day, Vic. I'm an addict.
I know that's kind of a rhetorical question. I already knew the answer to it, but yeah. So that's great. What are you diving into these days?
I'm doing a non-historical scenario based around the Maryland campaign during the American Civil War. I'm playing actually a mirror match. I'm doing both one game as North, one game as South against the same opponent, so we can compare and contrast each other's strategies.
Dude, that's awesome. So would you say that like your consumption deals mainly with like tabletop? Are you card? Are you digital?
Primarily digital.
Okay.
Actually, I'm a huge fan of War Game Design Studio and their variety of war games covering anywhere from, the ages of musket and pike, medieval era, to even contemporary up to modern day.
And they've got a pretty large like catalog of stuff to choose from.
Pretty
right?
large. Actually, they do have some on, the Global War on Terror. I haven't looked to see if, I can find any of your units. If there's a Vic Rubel character out there.
Yeah, dude, if you had a Vic Rubel in Abu Hayat, the main thing you'd probably have to deal with is the time spent in the smoke pit, sleeping, and then cursing as I was falling down wadis would be your big dilemma.
I don't even need to buy the game to do that. I can just do that on a daily basis. Well, anyways, so yeah, definitely recommend War Game Design Studio. In fact, on the Marine Corps Association website, if you go to our professional development page, you see decision-making games and exercises. We actually have a discount section.
Oh, yeah. Is there a code that comes with that?
Yeah, it's MCA 25, capital M, capital C, capital A, 25, just the numerics, and you can go and get 25% off of any order for any amount of games you want. So if you buy, all 100 plus games, it's 25% off.
Buy one, 25% off.
Precisely.
Awesome. And then, so if I went to War Game Design Studios and I put in that discount code of MCA25, I'm in.
You're in, buddy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and you or anyone listening to this could put that code in, and then maybe if you're unfortunate enough, you'll actually face me on the battlefield. And
that would be unfortunate, especially for me. But especially as we are looking at we've had episodes where we've talked about on the show where we've talked about potential wars across the globe, and then limited training, and you never know when this stuff's going to go down. This is a great way to get your reps and sets in, right?
Exactly. You do this just to, on the side. It doesn't even need to take long to do a turn. It can be a tournament anywhere from 2 to 5, 10, 15, even up to 30 minutes. So really as much time as you really need to dedicate toward it. And it just could be a quick mental game for you to figure out how to solve a particular problem. Even if you're getting your butt handed to you, it's okay, shoot, I'm losing. How can I dig myself out of this hole is sometimes a question that many people might need to ask themselves.
And if you need to break from, you don't want to go cold turkey from your computer, but you feel like you need a break, this is a great way to get off of TikTok and social media and just focus and actually develop your brain rather than rotting it.
Exactly, precisely. So definitely go ahead on our website, check out the Marine Corps Association professional development page, get that code MCA25, and go ahead and get your reps and sets in on the wargaming.
All right, let's do it. Scuttlebutt is a production of the Marine Corps Association. You have heard the voices or contributions from Major Vic Rubel, USMC retired, Nancy Litchman, William Truding, and our guest. Ty Frazier is the editor, sound engineer, and technical producer. The Marine Corps Association is not an agency of the U.S. government. The opinions expressed in this episode are the personal views of the participants and do not reflect the official position of the United States Marine Corps, the Department of Defense, or the Marine Corps Association.